Now it's time for today's perspective. And my guest on the programme today is a man who we spoke to 18 months ago on the programme. Mark Neville is a British photographer who lives in Ukraine. Now, he set up a charity called Postcode Ukraine that makes deliveries of humanitarian aid to frontline towns. He also takes photos of the people he meets to bring their stories to the wider world as the war in Ukraine continues to drag on. Well, Mark Neville has had great success with his book, Diary of a Volunteer, and of course, since its publishing, that we talked about 18 months ago, he continues to take pictures, and he joins us now once again from Kyiv. Great to have you with us once again, Mark. We're going to talk about the book in a minute, but first of all, we're going to talk about your ongoing work and look at some of the pictures that you've taken since. I love the camera behind you as well there. The first one you're going to talk about is this shirtless man smoking a cigarette. It's a very personal photo for you.
Well, we made a delivery of food and medicine to Svitogorsk, which is a key town in Donetsk region. It's still unoccupied, luckily. And from there, we have various volunteers and other groups of charity workers who forward on the aid that we've supplied from Kyiv, basically through our charity Postcode Ukraine. So he's just one of many people that are supporting Ukraine through humanitarian aid deliveries, which are absolutely vital still 4 or 5 years later. And actually, the three or four pictures we've selected to talk about today were all taken on this camera. So this camera is 100 years old. The lens is 100 years old. And the strategy, the philosophy really behind using such an old camera is trying to get away from digital imagery. So it's this tsunami of digital imagery that we're presented with about Ukraine on social media channels, in the news, and anything we can do to kind of rattle that cage and change people's perspective, as your program is called, is important because it makes people look at the war in a different way.
Yeah, it's great to see the camera as well, because that really gives us an idea of your work as well and the way you go about doing it. The second picture, let's have a look at this one. This is showing life very much goes on. Two men arm wrestling.
Yeah. Well, I guess this is significant and very representative of Ukraine at the moment because of the lack of young people. So everyone over the age of 25 has been mobilized, or almost everyone. So if I go out to a restaurant in Kyiv, I'm literally one of the only male people there because it's full of wives and girlfriends of men who are at the front line fighting, and indeed a lot of women fighting on the front line as well. So it's deeply sad and it's deeply surreal. But what you do find is a lot of the young men who are under the age of 25, they're in some kind of training or preparation, mentally or physically, to join the army, to join the Ukrainian army and fight. So if people have stayed in Ukraine after 4 years of war, there's generally a feeling that they're going to stay for good. Not always, but that's the kind of feeling I had, that we're in a kind of core of people who are going to stay, and that goes for very young people as well. So you find these kind of symbols everywhere in Ukraine of resilience. And for me, this arm wrestle is a kind of metaphor for the war and for young people's determination to fight for freedom.
And another one, Mark, I'm going to move on straight quickly to another one. This is of a dog. Sure. I mean, it does show, doesn't it? Of course, it's not just humans that are affected, animals, nature and the environment as well.
Yes, and we actually we give grants to 2 or 3 major animal rescue charities, such as this one, which is Animal Rescue Kharkiv. And they have kind of, as with people being evacuated, they have halfway houses. So this is right on the front line. It's a compound full of other kennels and dogs where evacuated dogs who are in danger or have been sadly abandoned by their owners because of the threat of war, leave their dogs, or the dogs have been brought there, and then they go on to Kharkiv, to the center of this big city called Kharkiv in East Ukraine. So it's a kind of halfway house for dogs and cats. But obviously, it's a kind of testament to how Ukrainians want to preserve life in all its forms, and there's a real determination to focus on quality of life in Ukraine despite what's going on, and that involves keeping one's pets alive.
Of course, of course. Mark, we're going to continue to show some of your other pictures while we talk a bit more generally. I mean, how difficult is it for you to be able to, continue doing what you're doing, taking those pictures, very much your ongoing work, as you mentioned, with your charity as well, Postcode Ukraine?
Well, it's a real honour to work for the charity Postcode Ukraine. It's not just me. I'm a co-founder and co-director, and I'm a photographer. But, we're a very small but highly determined and resilient team. Two of us are based in London, two or three of us are based in Kyiv. And we all go through cycles of grief and exhaustion. We all know people who have died, have been killed on the front line. We're all terribly worried about friends of ours, former members of Postcode Ukraine now who are fighting on the front line. And it's extremely difficult, but what's the choice? We have no choice. We have to continue. The fight here is absolutely key. It's essential not just for Ukraine, but all of Europe and all of the world. And in a way, Stuart, I've got an advantage over everyone else in Britain and Europe because my nervous system has adapted to the war. It's not been easy, but after 4 years, I can deal with it on some kind of level. Whereas I feel that the war is only now coming to Europe in very, very clear terms, whatever those terms may be. But it's definitely coming to Europe and to Britain in some form. And I don't envy you all because you're going to have to adapt to it and your lives will have to adapt as well. And it's not easy.
That's a fascinating way of looking at it, that you feel that you've become adapted. That's really interesting way of hearing it. Mark, tell us more about the book, Diary of a Volunteer. I mean, it's had great success, isn't it? A lot of I was looking at some of the letters that you've received from world leaders even who've received the book and commented on it.
Well, my central philosophy is that it's not a good idea to always monetize war or think about witness art or covering the war in terms of a financial exchange. So on that premise, we decided to send out Diary of a Volunteer, my book about my experiences in Ukraine with Postcode Ukraine, for free to a target audience. And we sent it to politicians worldwide. We sent it to mental health organizations because it's really about mental health support. We sent it to the super rich. We sent it to media. We sent it to museums and galleries. We sent it to everyone we thought could help Ukraine in some form. But the idea wasn't just to get money for the charity. It was about me communicating directly one-on-one by making a book for free, delivering it for free, and hoping to elicit a response from that communication. So people who receive the book really feel, this is a special approach. This is some kind of direct line of communication between myself, our experiences as a charity delivering aid in Ukraine, and with you as an individual. So some of the responses we had, personal letters from Macron, from the mayor of Paris, from Keir Starmer, from the super rich community in Canada and America, from collectors of art, from displaced Ukrainians in Britain as well. And it's really about trying to break through this kind of tsunami of different digital noise and fuzz and, the kind of the mess of social media communication that stops us really feeling anything about the war anymore. I mean, so many people I know, when they open social media channels on their phone, they just can't think about Ukraine anymore, engage with it, because they're bombarded with images, some of them very graphic. So the idea of the book is not only about getting Western support for Ukraine and Western support for mental health services in Ukraine, it's also about trying to make that personal connection so that people who receive the book really feel something in a way that they don't feel from from a social media post or from an article in the New York Times or from other piece of dissemination about war information. So
Mark,
it's about
I'll have to
demonetising.
interrupt you because we're running out of time. But look at this book. I mean, it's a beautiful book. It's full of wonderful photographs. And Mark, you're such an inspiration. I half mentioned this to you yesterday, but if you're okay, we're going to get you back a few more times in the summer to talk about, before the summer rather, to talk about some of your other pictures and videos, because it's great to see them and great to get that real hint of what life is like in Ukraine. Good to have you with us once again. Mark Neville joining us there.
Great to talk to you, Stuart.
Great to talk to you as well. Thanks very much. Diary of a Volunteer, the book is. And as I say, we will get Mark on a couple more times, hopefully, before the summer to talk about some of his other pictures and videos as well he's been taking too.